What do you make of this move, and what do you think is the main reason that Elon Musk is doing it? Is it to prepare for future transactions in the cryptocurrency? Is it to maximize returns for his cash holdings?
Yeah, a couple points that I'll make. And, this actually ties in pretty nicely with the report that we just put out, our Big Ideas report. So first, my colleague Yassine, who's our crypto expert, we've actually done quite a bit of research on this in the past. And, Tesla's not the first company to do this. We've seen this with Square. We've seen this with MicroStrategy. This using Bitcoin as corporate cash, especially if you're doing business in many different countries with many different foreign currencies, this could be instead of dealing with the complication and the risk, that treasury risk. You can instead do this with Bitcoin. So we think it makes sense, certainly from a corporate cash standpoint. And actually, we've done some analysis to say that if 1% of all the cash from the companies in the S&P 500 were to be converted into Bitcoin for corporate treasury purposes, this could actually increase the price a meaningful amount by about $40,000. So Tesla put roughly 8% of their cash into this. So that's meaningful. From the payment perspective, we've done a lot of work on the ride-hailing space. We think this is an opportunity that should be measured in the trillions. So if Tesla is operating a ride-hailing service globally, they'd have to build out that payments function to make it work. So you can imagine that Bitcoin would be useful, again, in that case, as they go into foreign countries and operate there.
So overall, do you welcome this move, or is there an aspect of it that you feel might point to general market toppiness, particularly when you see the size in the move in Tesla and Bitcoin off the back of this announcement, which on the surface doesn't necessarily mean anything immediately?
Yeah, I think this is a trend, from the Ark Invest standpoint, we think this is a trend that you can see happening with more companies. So I would say that this is, part of sort of that longer term view that we've taken on Bitcoin. Which is interesting. At first when we looked at Bitcoin, we weren't necessarily looking at it for institutions from the Treasury perspective. We were really looking at it as Bitcoin as its own asset class from an investment perspective. But we've actually found out that this is a really meaningful opportunity for Bitcoin as well.
I get why, Tasha, as supporters of Bitcoin, you would be happy to see this. But what about as shareholders of Tesla? Is this what does Tesla get out of it? You really want to see CEO Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin, which is sort of a joke of a cryptocurrency, and now Bitcoin? Is he just looking for publicity?
No, I think this appears to be a very serious move from the company. And again, it's validated by these other firms doing the same thing. Again, I think when people think of Bitcoin, they think that it's, this risky, unfamiliar thing. But if you're looking at it from a treasury perspective, it could actually be more useful to you than doing all these transactions in foreign currencies. So it can actually reduce that risk. So you could picture actually companies that do this in the early days could benefit from a tailwind from getting in early on Bitcoin. So again, I think this is part of a long-term trend that we're seeing. Innovation has really taken share over the past years across our platform. In 2020, and I think 2021, we're just sort of in the early innings of the adoption for some of these technologies, Bitcoin being included. But again, I think looking at it from the ride-hail perspective, we think Tesla could launch both a human-driven at first, eventually autonomous platform, and they'd want to build out that payment functionality. So, being one of the first companies to invest in Bitcoin, to transact in Bitcoin, actually gives them sort of an advantage to really lay that infrastructure as it becomes increasingly important. And again, as other firms might do it, because we think that there will be sort of that need for the infrastructure to be set up. So they'll be one of the first players to figure this out.